Hey guys, welcome back. It's session 2 of our read aloud with the book, What's His Face by Gordon Korman. I hope you enjoyed the last 3 chapters. Today we'll try to get in 3 chapters again. We left off when that crazy phone of Cooper's was going crazy. It was that GX4000, that crazy powers. So let's see how it acts up if something crazy happens in the next few chapters. Also, we were introduced to some of the main characters. We have Brock and we have Jolie, who seems like that's somebody that Cooper is very interested in. He finds her very, very, very intriguing. So let's get started. We're going to start with chapter 4, and it's called Wrong Number. Okay, all right, going to get started. Sit back and enjoy. The ramp is pointed more or less in the direction of the moon. The rider comes hurtling down the hill on a BMX bike, picking up speed with every yard of pavement. The only way to tell it's Jolie is that the video is posted on her Instagram account. Her face is hidden behind a helmet and a mirrored visor. By the time she hits the ramp, she's just a blur. She rockets up the slope and then she's airborne, heaving the front wheel of the bike high. Cooper's terrified for her, even though he knows she's alive because he just saw her today at school. And yet the stunt is so dangerous that it doesn't seem possible any human being could survive it. Halfway to the ionosphere, the bike begins its descent. It's a long way down, even though Cooper can't see her face. Jolie's body language makes it clear that she's enjoying every millisecond, drinking it in, reveling in it. It's a perfect landing on her rear wheel, or at least it is for the first couple of heartbeats. But the bike is moving too fast and she can't control it. A wobble in the front tire and it's all over. The wipeout is as spectacular as the jump itself, and the most amazing part of all, the pure joy as she throws off her helmet and leaps to her feet, clutching at what turns out to be the broken wrist that hasn't completely healed yet. Cooper can't look away. She may be 80% bananas, but she's the most incredible person he's ever met. And when he scrolls down the Instagram feed, another video starts up with a stunt that's even more guaranteed to maim and kill. This time, she's bundled in Gore-Tex with crampons on her feet, making her way up a frozen waterfall, wielding 2 ice axes. Over her shoulder, a fat sun is rising, but its orange brilliance pales next to the sheer bliss on her face. She loves this as much as Cooper would hate it. "It is the East," he mumbles loud, remembering the auditions, and Jolie is the sun. All at once, the GX4000 emits a sound like a truck with bad brakes and vibrates its way out of his hand, dropping to the carpeted floor. By the time Cooper stoops to pick up, the image on the screen has dissolved into a whirlwind of particles. Not again! The phone is dark, but after a few seconds it lights back up, the screen dancing with color, morphing in and out of elusive shapes. Then the GX4000 does something new and unexpected. It speaks. "Is anyone there?" Cooper freezes. What now? Is someone Skyping him? Video chatting? Nothing rang, and Cooper never answered any call. He says the first thing that comes to his mind, not realizing how stupid it sounds until the words are already out. "I think you have the wrong number." "Number?" the voice asks. "Who speaketh thus?" Cooper frowns. Someone is calling him, probably Brock or Aiden or one of those jerks, putting on a fancy British accent and talking like Shakespeare. They're trying to make him look even stupider than he looked at the audition. "I speaketh thus," Cooper growls. "How did you get this number?" "Show thyself, stranger, that I might look upon thee." "Now listen, you." Cooper's breath catches his throat. He watches dumbstruck as the swirling snow on the screen slowly collects in the center. A man. No, a kid. A boy not much older than Cooper. But this is no ordinary kid. He looks wrong. He wears a dingy white shirt with puffy sleeves, patched at the elbows and held in place by a tight-fitting vest laced down to his waist. His hair is a mass of fair curls topped by a strange hat, almost like a baseball cap, with no brim, only softer and velvety. Instead of pants, he wears what looks like bloomers at end mid-thigh. His legs are clad in tights. His shoes are more like slippers made of some kind of soft leather. "What are you supposed to be, Robin Hood?" Cooper asked. The boy is clearly annoyed. "Waste not my time with thy silly jest. I demand to know the nature of this place." Hey, back up," Cooper retorts. "You called me, remember?" "You would have done the same," the boy states firmly. "So long in darkness, surrounded by this featureless ether. So many unfamiliar sounds, nearby yet unseen. And then a window opens, and I behold thee, a stranger sight these eyes have never seen." "I'm strange?" Hath you looked in the mirror lately? I'm hanging up now. Cooper taps the phone, but the end call option does not appear. This isn't Skype or any app like that, come to think of it. In order for this kid's whole body to be on screen, it has to be standing at least 10 feet away from the phone or the computer or whatever he's calling on. In that case, though, wouldn't Cooper be able to see the room around him? The stranger is totally visible, from the strings that tie his collarless shirt at his throat to the stripes on his pantaloons. But there's nothing around him, not a lamp, not a table, not a picture on a wall, or even a wall itself. Cooper thinks of the boy's words, featureless ether. This is no crank call, and this kid is no dimwit like Brock, putting on his Halloween costume to pull what's-his-face's chain. The person on the screen seems to be telling the truth, or at least the truth as he understands it. Of all the messed up things the GX 4000 has done, this one is the top of the list. Cooper asks the million-dollar question, who are you? Roderick Barnabas Northrop, printer's apprentice. Thou mayest call me Roddy, if you pleaseth thee, and thou art Cooper Vega, a 7th grader. The 7th grade of what? Roddy inquires. What is thy apprenticeship? I am not an apprentice. I'm in middle school. Roddy's brow furrows under his fringe of curls. Thy words are peculiar to mine ears, as I suspect my words are to thine. Cooper sighs. Tell me about it. I have just done thus, Roddy says in surprise. Thy manner of speaking is unusual. What part of England art thou from? No part of England, Cooper replies. I'm an American. Roddy's eyes open wide. The Americas? The New World? How is it that I can see thee? What is this miracle? Cooper's head has been spinning throughout the impossible encounter. He knows he has to ground himself, find some connection between this weirdness and reality. When the next question forms on his tongue, he realizes it's the one he should have asked first. Roddy, what year is this? Roddy answers immediately. Why, it's the year of our Lord, 1596. Of course. No way, Cooper blurts. It's 2018. Dost thou think me an idiot? Look! Cooper holds the phone screen up to the school calendar hanging on the wall. September 2018? Roddy reads the date in astonishment. What is this deceit? What harm have I done thee that I am treated thus? It's the truth. You think I printed up a fake calendar on the off chance that some weirdo from 1596 might show up on my phone? I know this, not this phone, Roddy tells him in growing agitation. Explain thyself. It's this, machine I carry around. Cooper struggles to find words that might make sense to Roddy. Everybody has phones in 2018. You talk to people on them. That's how I'm talking to you right now. And I can see you. I mean, not the real you, more like your image. Impossible, Roddy declares firmly. I have never sat for any portrait. It's not the same thing. There's a camera. He cuts off the explanation. If you've never heard of a phone, you probably don't know what a camera is either. There's a knock at the door, and Mrs. Vega leans into the room. It's getting kind of late, Coop. Don't you think you can talk to your friend tomorrow? Cooper quickly places the GX 4000 face down on his bedspread. Okay, Mom, he mumbles, not at all sure if there will be a tomorrow with this particular friend. He isn't totally convinced it's happening now. All right, honey, sleep well. Cooper waits until her footsteps recede down the hall before turning the phone over again. Sorry, that was just my mom. He's talking to a blank screen. You can come out now, Roddy. The coast is clear. He tries again. Thy coast is clearest. Nothing. He presses the home button, but the only thing to appear is the array of apps. He speaks into the voice command. Dial the most recent caller. The number that appears on the screen is his mom's. Cooper hangs up, determined to reach Roddy again, but how? As far as Cooper knows, Roddy doesn't have a phone number. He doesn't even understand what a phone is. How do you dial into the past? Long distance? How about long ago? Feeling foolish, Cooper brings up the keypad and taps in 1596. Your call cannot be completed as dialed. Cooper knows it can't. The question is, how was it completed the first time around? He lies on his back, staring at the darkened phone. How many hours has he spent over the past few days trying to will this miserable piece of junk to shut up, to cut out of the blurping, buzzing, chiming, and vibrating that keep him up night after night? Well, now, he has his wish. The thing is totally quiet. Somehow, though, he understands that he'll get even less sleep tonight, tossing and turning, wondering if he's losing his mind. Did he really just have a conversation with a kid who lived 100 years ago? How? Buggy phones are pretty common. They'll definitely drive you nuts. What they won't do is communicate with past centuries. And yet there's the evidence of Cooper's own eyes and ears. Roddy, the things he said and the way he said them, the accent, the words that sound like Shakespeare's plays. Even Roddy's strange clothing seems familiar, as if Cooper has seen it before, and he has, when Mr. Marchese showed everybody the school's wardrobe room on audition day. Or did I hallucinate the whole thing? That's possible too. In fact, it's probably true. The longer he lies awake waiting for this dormant phone to burst to life, the more convinced he becomes that the entire conversation was a fragment of his imagination, the result of a stressful move to a town full of jerks. Plus, he has Shakespeare on the brain thanks to Romeo and Juliet. He changes into pajamas and climbs into bed. It's settled there. There's no Roddy Northrop, and there never was. Cooper pulls the corners to his chin. That solves one problem and opens up another. The fact that I'm probably going crazy. Wow. Okay. Chapter 5, The Ghost in the Machine. Somerset Wolfson made his billions in chromite exploration in the Ring of Fire region of the Canadian far north, Mr. Marchese is explaining, but his passion has always been Shakespeare. He acted in the plays as a college student and later in life began collecting rare folios of the Bard's works. When he retired, he built a museum so he could share his love of Shakespeare with the world. Cooper, are we keeping you up? The teacher's voice snaps Cooper out of a light doze. I'm listening, he blurts. He almost is. But a sleepless night stressing over the strange encounter on his phone, which may or may not have really happened, has left him exhausted. You're talking about when the wolf moved here and got everybody to change the town name to Stratford. Mr. Marchese smiles. I know you are new, but around here we try not to refer to the man who put our community on the map as the wolf. Cooper feels a spitball ricochet off the back of his neck. Way to disrespect our town, hisses a voice he's pretty sure belongs to Brock. Sorry, Cooper mumbles, his face burning. Well, I'll have a chance to tour Mr. Wolfson's collection in a few weeks, the teacher continues. Every year, the 7th grade takes a field trip to the museum before the show. It's pretty moving. It's a pretty moving experience, especially since we'll just be ready to perform our Romeo and Juliet. Cooper sits up a little straighter and tries to pay attention as Mr. Marchese goes on about the Wolfson collection. In addition to the very earliest editions of Shakespeare's play dating back centuries, there are displays of clothing, tools, and illustrations from the Elizabethan England, the time of Shakespeare. There's a detailed replica of the Globe Theatre, where many of the plays were originally performed. There are even rumors that not all of Mr. Wolfson's collection is on display. Around Stratford, the word is that the billionaire is keeping a secret gallery filled with Shakespearean artifacts no one has ever seen. It's impossible to guess that these objects might be, but everyone assumes they were acquired illegally. Mr. Wolfson is a great man, but he'd stop at nothing to get his hands on an important piece of Shakespeare's history. Cooper feels his eyelids starting to droop. Yikes. If he falls asleep again, he'll never be able to bluff it with Mr. Marchese. That's when it happens. A distant voice calls. Cooper Vega. Cooper's lolling head snaps to attention. I'm awake. So I see. Mr. Marchese tells him mildly, his eyes narrow. Are you all right, Cooper? The voice comes again. Cooper Vega. Cooper pivots in his chair, trying to see who's calling him. Brock? Aiden? Do these guys even know his name? To them, he's what's-his-face. I seek thee, Cooper Vega. Hast thou a place in this darkness? Okay, it's a stranger. It's, what's his name again? Go back and look. Roddy. I think it's Roddy again. Okay. With a sinking heart, Cooper realizes that the muffled message is coming from his pocket where the GX4000 is vibrating. Oh no, he's back. Who else would use those words? That accent. I have to go to the bathroom. Cooper is up and running for the door even before Mr. Marchese gives the okay. He darts down the hall, bursts into the boys' room, and hides himself in the far stall. Roddy, is that you? 'Tis I, comes the gloomy response, but I see thee not. Cooper whips out his phone and presses the home button. The boy from last night's hallucination is center screen. Framed in a murky shadow, round-shouldered with dejection, his face a picture of suffering. What's the matter? Cooper asks anxiously. The boy raises a limp hand to his brow. I am dead, Cooper Vega. Cooper Vega, I am dead. No, you're not. I'm looking right at you. Roddy shakes his head tragically. I have recalled my final moment. Retaken my final breath. You're just a kid, Cooper protests. The plague knows neither age nor mercy. Plague? Cooper echoes. You mean bubonic plague? He almost drops the phone as it might be contagious. But if you're dead, Roddy, are you saying you're a ghost? Roddy nods miserably. Aye, a ghost, a spirit. Cooper is stunned. How can this be happening? There's no such things as ghost. And even if there was, how did one get into his GX4000? Well, at least now I know what's wrong with my phone, Cooper says in a shaky voice. It isn't buggy, it's haunted. This phone again. I understand it not. Roddy stretches out his arms. I feel no machine around me. Cooper swallows hard. I hate to tell you this, but you might not have an actual body anymore. A phone's small enough to hold in your hand. It's for talking to people far away. To ghosts? Alive people mostly, Cooper replies. There are no ghosts. I mean, there weren't, before you. Roddy is distraught. I am the only one? Probably, Cooper tells him. Maybe. You can't go by me. I don't believe in ghosts. At least, I didn't. How can this be? Roddy protests. Thou art far in the future? All others of my time are surely as dead as I, and those from the ages before me and the ages after, and I, the only ghost? Cooper shrugs. I can't explain it either. Just lucky, I guess. Lucky? Roddy echoes the word strange to him. Oh, I am fortune's fool, trapped and alone in this ether, surrounded by the blackest night, my only window, the occasional glimpse of thee. Fortune's fool. Cooper remembers the lines from Romeo and Juliet for a second and then moves on. He has bigger things to worry about than any play. What about me? He complains. No tech support's ever going to believe me when I tell them my phone has a ghost in it. They'll just say I'm crazy and I should download the latest software update. That does sound painful. Roddy sympathizes. It's not painful, it's just a pain. I know you've got problems too, Roddy, but I need my phone. The thing won't even take pictures without these weird cloudy shapes. Cooper frowns at the memory of the photograph he tried to take. Everyone was spoiled by the same silvery distortion, that almost human form. Roddy, hold on, let me try something. He opens the camera function, points the GX4000 at the white tiled wall, and snaps a picture. How now? Roddy exclaims in surprise. A split second later, a rush of glistening mist pours out of the camera. Cooper has seen it before, but this time he's expecting it, and he knows exactly what to look for. He watches in amazement as the figure forms, arms, legs, face. Roddy, he asks tensely, is that you? The translucent present seems to be saying something, but no sound comes out. It hovers in the bathroom stall, the mouth moving urgently, straining to communicate. Then, by the shimmering figure, is sucked back into the phone as if by a vacuum cleaner. A few remaining particles hang in midair, winking out like the sparks from a skyrocket. Cooper taps the screen frantically. Roddy, are you there? He taps at it. Oh, Cooper Vega, that was glorious, Roddy breathes. I was in the light, ever so briefly. I saw you. You came out of the phone when I snapped a picture. 'Twas beautiful, Roddy says in a hushed tone. Thy world is a wondrous place, shiny white and adorned with divine sculptures. Roddy, I hate to burst your bubble, but I think you're talking about a toilet. Like a chamber pot? Verily, if a ghost can blush, Roddy does. Thou must show me more. Thy castles, theaters, cathedrals. We don't have that in middle school, Cooper informs him, but there's a Gatorade machine in the cafeteria. I know not what that is, yet I long to behold it. A sharp rap at the stall door reverberates through the bathroom. Cooper, is that you? It's Mr. Marchese. Roddy drops his voice. Is that the watch? Cooper puts a finger to his lips and whispers, my teacher. Out loud, he replies, coming, Mr. Marchese. Is someone in there with you? What's going on? No, I'm alone. Cooper pops the lock and steps out. Too late, he realizes his mistake. The GX4000 is still in his hand. Roddy's image is gone, replaced by the usual home screen. The teacher frowns. So I did hear you talking to someone. You know the rules. No cell phone use in the building during school hours. If it happens again, I'll have to confiscate it. Knave, comes a voice, definitely not Cooper's. He and his teacher stare at each other for an uncomfortable moment. Did you say something? Mr. Marchese asks in an odd tone. Not me. As he walks back to class beside his teacher, Cooper can't shake the feeling that he's carrying a time bomb in his pocket. No worse, a ghost. What is he supposed to do now? Ooh, this is getting good. Okay, I'll do one more chapter. Chapter 6 is called The Insult App. Good morning, Coop. Put your phone away and grab some cereal. You'll have to eat quickly if you're going to get to the school on time. Okay, Mom. Cooper pours himself a bowl of frosted mini wheats in the milk using his free hand. His other is clamped firmly on GX 4000. You'll be a lot more efficient without that phone, Mrs. Vega tells him. Veronica rolls her eyes. Get a clue, Mom. He's listening to music. Can't you see he's wearing one of those wireless earbuds? He probably can't even hear us. I can hear you, Cooper defends himself, and I'm not listening to music. Why the headphones, then? His sister challenges him. I don't want to forget them, he explains reasonably, so I can listen to music on the way to school. Mrs. Vega smiles. Well, I'm glad to hear you're getting the hang of your new phone. Thank goodness for that. Oh, I'm definitely getting the hang of it, Cooper assures her. No kidding, Veronica is sarcastic. He was up blabbing on it half the night. Who knew that a friendless loser would have so many people to talk to? Veronica, be nice, their mother says wearily. He's snowing you, and you're totally letting him get away with it, Veronica complains. Of course he's got music on. You can hear the buzz coming from the earbud. She's half right. There is a sound coming from the tiny earbud, but it isn't music. It's the clipped English accent of Roderick Northrop. As Cooper pretends to fiddle with his phone while he eats, he pans the camera lens all around the house, giving the ghost his first good look at the 21st century. Thy dwelling is magnificent, he raves. Verily, thou must be wealthy beyond even the queen. Shh, yet there are servants, and if this be the kitchen, where is the hearth? How dost thou cook without fire? That idea of explaining to a guy from 1596 how a microwave oven works causes Cooper to choke on his frosted mini wheat. Veronica laughs in his face. Swallow much or just read about it? A car horn sounds outside. Gotta go. Chad's here to pick me up. I'll be late today. Volleyball practice. Ask Chad if he minds swinging by the middle school to drop off Cooper, Mrs. Vega requests. It's okay. I'll walk, Cooper puts in hastily. He likes Chad about as much as he likes Brock, which is not very much at all. And anyway, if he walks, he might run into Jolie on the way. There's no time, his mother insists. I don't want you to be late. When Chad's fire-engine red Mustang pulls away from the curb, Roddy exclaims, Forsooth, 'tis a miracle. Where are the horses for this carriage? Shh, Cooper hisses. Veronica glares at him in the back seat. Can't you be normal for 1 3-minute car ride? Chad chimes in. I asked my kid brother about you. He says he doesn't know who you are. Tell him I'm what's-his-face. Cooper supplies. That'll ring a bell. As they drive, Cooper holds up his phone, giving Roddy a panoramic view of the Stratford. There are cars and other vehicles, houses, stories, neon signs, and traffic lights. Surely not even heaven itself can be so rich and beautiful, is the young ghost's opinion gushed into the earbud. Chad comes to a halt along the school driveway. This is your stop. Cooper gets out of the Mustang just as the school bus roars up behind them and begins disgorging students. Roddy draws in a short breath. The galleon, Golden Hind, must have looked thus. Like a school bus? Cooper asked dubiously. School bus. Roddy repeats, trying the words on for size. 'Tis a worthy name for such a grand vehicle of a color so pleasing to the eye. Everything about Stratford Middle School is impressive to Roddy. The 3-story entranceway. Only the palace itself could be more grand. The sights of hundreds of kids swarming in all directions. Surely there are not so many children in all London. Even the video sign out in front thrills the ghost to his core. And this is the palace gate? By what sorcery do the messages change by themselves? You'd better get used to it, Roddy, Cooper mumbles into the GX 4000. Everything runs on electronics in 2018. Book fair today, Roddy reads. Did you see that? Cooper Vega? There's going to be a fair. Perchance will there be jousting? Not unless the PTA moms get all worked up, Cooper tells him. It's a book fair. You know, kids buying books. The ghost is astonished. Are these children all of royal blood that they have the means to own such costly books? What's so costly about books? In my world, books are out of the reach of all but the wealthy. Paper is nearly the value of silver. In my apprenticeship with the Mannering and Brown, our books took months to print and our clients were of the nobility. It's kind of different now, Cooper tries to explain. Books are pretty cheap. Most kids have shelves of them at home. Pep rally, October the 14th. Roddy continues his reading as the sign changes. What is this pep and why must we rally to it? Cooper soon realizes that it's impossible to answer all of Roddy's eager questions. To be plucked out of 1596 and dropped into the modern world is far more than the mind can absorb. When Cooper gets a drink from the fountain, Roddy asks, "Whence springeth this refreshment?" When Cooper opens his locker, "Seal me not in this coffin. Though I be dead, I have no wish to be buried." When the PA system comes on with the morning announcements, "Hush, Cooper Vega, I hear the voice of God. Mayhap he will explain why I have come to live inside thy phone." "It's not God, it's the principle," Cooper whispers. "I don't think God cares whether or not it's pizza day in the cafeteria. Listen, I have to go to class now, so I'm putting the phone in my pocket. You'll hear what's going on, but you won't be able to see anything. And this is important. I can't talk to you or I'll get in trouble. If Mr. Marchese finds out I've got my phone on, he'll confiscate it. And then where will you be?" "In the clutches of thine enemy," Roddy concludes. "He's not exactly my enemy, but he isn't the friendliest guy in the world either," Cooper tells him. "And if anybody turns on the screen and sees you, we both have a lot of explaining to do." "Especially me," Cooper thinks to himself. He's still not certain why he didn't tell his parents about the ghost in his phone. He's definitely worried that everyone will think he's lost his mind. He half believes that it might be true, that he's hallucinating the whole thing, or maybe Roddy is nothing more than a malicious virus set loose by some hacker, and Cooper alone is stupid enough to fall for it. But Roddy doesn't feel like a virus or a program created to dupe people. Cooper has played a lot of games and apps, and he's never seen an online character as real as Roddy. His accent, his language from a bygone era, his anguish at what's happened to him, his wonderment with the modern world, it rings totally true. No one could fake all of that for sure. No phone app could do. Which means Roddy is a person. Okay, a dead person, but he's very much alive on my GX 4000. He gets happy, sad, scared, thrilled, and disappointed, just like people who are still alive. There's no way to know why he ended up on Cooper's phone out of all the phones in the world. Maybe it was total random. But mine is the phone he's on, which means I'm the only one who can help him. If I tell anybody about him, the GX 4000 might wind up in a lab somewhere being poked and prodded under a microscope by a scientist and Roddy with it. I can't let that happen. I have to keep this a secret. He takes his seat in Mr. Marchese's classroom and opens his math book as the other 7th graders shuffle in. He notices that Jolie's t-shirt, Niagara Falls Tubing Club, has long sleeves. That means the cast on her arm must be off. He waves to her, but before he can catch her attention, a big body swings into the line of vision, blocking her and most of the room. Brock slides into the empty desk beside her. Catching Cooper's half gesture, he growls, "What are you looking at, kid?" "Nothing," Cooper mumbles, focusing on the teacher's desk. Mr. Marchese begins the day by going over the previous night's homework. As he leads the class through the sheet of math problems, Cooper becomes aware of a strange noise coming from the earbud, a snort at the end of a long guttural sound repeated over and over again. It hits him, snoring, and it can only be coming from one source. "I never knew ghosts could snore." "Roddy," he whispers, hoping this low voice will wake the built-in microphone in the earbud. "Roddy, wake up!" A long yawn comes from the earpiece. "Egad," Roddy pronounces, "mathematics lessons art just as dreary in thy century as mine own." "Shh, check out what's-his-face," Brock announces. "He's got a slow leak." A chuckle buzzes around the room. "Who is this knave who speaketh of Cooper Vega